Ever have a good money again before we take the thing out of the hands of government.
Well, today is September 27th, 2022. Welcome to Simply Bitcoin Live. We are streaming from the legendary Bitcoin Park in Nashville, Tennessee, from the 1031 offices. So shout out to those guys. Those guys are legends. We're actually going to be talking about those guys coincidentally today. Huge news. We have Jack Mallers just announced raised 90 million US dollars at the bottom of a bear market to take on Mastercard and Visa. Very excited for that. But you guys know the drill. We are your number one source for the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We cover the breaking news, culture, memetic warfare. We'll show you why only Bitcoin can give you true financial sovereignty. And when we say that, we obviously mean freedom. I want to give a very special shout out to my awesome co-host. How you doing, Opti? We also have a pleb that decided to join as well. We're going to try to get him onto the show. Opti, how you doing, brother?
I am doing well, man. Can't complain. Well, I was kind of complaining in the spaces. Jacob might say otherwise. But, man, we are here another day, another episode of Simply Bitcoin. So, blessed out here, man. Truly blessed. I'm excited. And the culture, I think today's culture, we're going to, touch on some of the stuff that the Fed's been talking about, but really relate it back to Bitcoin and the Bitcoin white paper and how we're here to eliminate the trust going on. So I think this is going to be a good one. I hope I do it justice, Nika. We're venturing out a little bit today, so excited.
Oh yeah. I also want to give a shout out to Pleb. How you doing, Dan?
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
Doing good, Nico.
Happy to have you. Guys, this is Simply Bitcoin. We try to make it as inclusive as possible. We'll bring the big guys on, the small guys, and usually, I've said this many times, it's usually the people that no one's ever heard of, the anon pleb that has the best takes or has some of the best takes. And the reason for that is simple. You've heard it a million times from the bigger people and from the people that, no one's really heard of. Those people, they have unique experiences in life. They have unique experiences going through this orange pill, this Bitcoin adventure that we're all going through. Opti, did you tell everybody what we're going to talk about during the culture?
I sure did.
Okay. All right. That means we're ready for the numbers. Let's do it. Number time. Brought to you by NODL. At this point, you should be running your own Bitcoin node. If you don't use your own Bitcoin node, you're trusting someone else's. Run your own version of Bitcoin Core, the Lightning Network, Whirlpool, and Dojo, all from the comfort of your own home. And if you're a digital nomad, you have absolutely no excuse because now you can run a NODL through a virtual private server. Visit nodl.eu today. At the time of this recording, the Bitcoin price is no, it's not. It's 19,540. I was like, 14,000 cheap sats per dollar, 5,116. Block height, 755,940. Reachable Bitcoin nodes, 14,183. Blocks to the halving, 84,060. Halving estimate, April 23rd, 2024. Total Lightning Network capacity, 4,870. Capacity value, 95 million US dollars. Realized monetary inflation, 1.78%. Bitcoin continues to take the dollar and all fiat currencies. It will continue to take them to absolute school. Market capitalization, $374 billion with a B. Well, guys, more of the continuation of the separation of money and state. This is more of the theme we have been covering so much on this show. And the creatures, the demons, they're coming out of their woodwork and they're telling you exactly what they're thinking. They're revealing themselves, right? This is Mr. Hodl. And he reposted these two tweets. And we're going to actually play you the videos of those two tweets. But what Mr. Hodl said was very wise, and he said this in 2020. Bitcoin is not up against commercial banking, credit cards, PayPal, or any private/public company. Bitcoin is up against the most powerful institution in the history of mankind, central banking, right? And there's another thing that I said. I said government central bank digital currencies will never be able to match Bitcoin's incentives. They will always want to control and debase. And what happened, ladies and gentlemen, is that these two people, and if you don't know who they are, this is Jerome Powell, the head of the United States Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, and that's Christine Lagarde, the convicted felon that was the head of the IMF and now is head of the European Central Bank. And ladies and gentlemen, you know what they're doing? We're at that part of the movie where they're saying the quiet part out loud. Anyways, let's check out the clip.
I think that there are four characteristics of, if we were to pursue a CBDC, it would at a minimum have the following four characteristics. First is intermediated. Second is privacy protected. But third is identity verified. So it would not be anonymous. It would not be an anonymous bearer instrument. And fourth is transferable or interoperable. So we would be looking to balance privacy protection with identity verification, which has to be done, of course, in today's traditional banking system as well.
Where do we stand? We central bankers, we have been operating as a monetary anchor in relation to the commercial banks and the private money. If we are not in that game, if we are not involved in experimenting, in innovating in terms of digital central bank money, we risk losing the role of anchor that we have played for many, many decades. And we have historical examples of period where the central bank monetary anchor was not there, and that precipitated crisis after crisis. That certainly was the case at the time of the free banking in the 19th century. Do we want to go back to those days? Probably not. I would say certainly not from our vantage point, as a result of which we have to respond to the demand for those digital payments in order to maintain the role of anchor that we have been playing regularly.
They're demons.
So, look, a lot to unpack, right? So,
Did you say anchor or thief?
Dude, just Alex said it best. They're demons. But anyways, a lot to unpack, right? So, first of all, the language by Jerome Powell saying we are thinking about pursuing CBDCs. That's BS. Look at it's like they lie to your face and they think you're dumb. The White House report last week, they came out with 3 reports. The Treasury literally said in the report, the future of money is central bank digital currencies. They didn't even mention Bitcoin. So what do you mean pursue? Right? That's bullshit. Okay, and then the other component, right? And this is what I always mean about the CBDCs will never be able to match Bitcoin's incentives, right? And the only reason that CBDCs were created in the first place was because Christine Lagarde said it herself. All these digital innovations, and they want to continue to enslave people. She says it herself, the escape valve. Bitcoin is that escape valve. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about the anonymous transactions, right? So Jerome Powell said literally, this won't allow anonymous transaction, but we still have to protect privacy. How does that work? So protect privacy, but not allow anonymous transactions, connect them to the IDs, and then we're going to trust governments after everything that has happened in the last 2 years. Look at what happened in Canada, a Western democracy, and they want you to trust them with and privacy is freedom. That full stop. I can't, I don't know what else to say to that. And then the other component, the last bit, and then I'll pass it on to Opti and our guest, right? Is this idea of the monetary anchor. What monetary anchor, Christine Lagarde? Look at what has happened. You guys printed a record amount of money. You stole from the lower and the middle classes, and you gave to the ultra wealthy, and you gave it to the government. What stability? The century of central banking. This is Ron Paul's quote, by the way. The century of central banking was the most violent, unstable in human history. The greatest depressions have happened under central banking. The Great Depression, 2008, the dot-com bubble, all of that has happened under central banking. So what monetary anchor? What the hell are you talking about? Lies, misrepresentations, that's all they have. That's all they have. They have this fake authority. They're hiding behind these suits, and they want you to trust them because they have a big emblem and they're wearing a suit and tie. Well, dude, I'll tell you this, guys. Simple Bitcoiners on the internet, just hanging out, were more accurate. No suit and tie, just represent hoodies, comfy, relaxing. Were more accurate about what was going to happen when they printed the record amount of money than these people that we are supposed to trust with the central bank digital currencies. What monetary anchor? You guys betrayed that trust over and over and over again. You don't deserve it anymore. We don't want to be lied to anymore. The racket, it's over. It's over. It's time for Bitcoin. Opti, what's good, bro?
Wow, Nico's heated this morning. Let's go.
On fire.
Yeah, but you know, we've said it before on the show, and it's always been about control. Like the CBDCs, it's about control, and it's always been about control, and it's always been about making sure that you do not find the escape route, that you are completely tagged and bagged. So, you know, we've said it before on the show that Bitcoin has forced the narrative, and you know, this is the only reason why they are talking about Bitcoin or even CBDCs in these ways. You know, like cross-border, not anonymous, and all the other 4 things that he said. But I really, or what do you say, identity verified. So we know where they're angling. You know, I've said it all the time on the show. Like, they want to tag and bag you, and they want to make sure that you cannot freely transact in an economy. So this is why they're pushing for CBDCs, because they understand that Bitcoin has, you know, called their bluff. And of course, Christine Lagarde mentions the monetary anchor and trying to angling themselves as necessary trusted third parties. And this is why we Bitcoin. And I'm literally going to jump in on, like, I'm going to do a deep dive on the daily culture about this. So, but I really loved how she like, again, she said the quiet part out loud. She said, you know, certainly not from our vantage point are anonymous currencies or, you know, Bitcoin a benefit to them. So they understand what we understand, guys. They are scared. They understand that Bitcoin is disintermediating their whole job, their whole livelihood, and they're going to have to do whatever they can to position themselves in such a way that they can continue to gaslight you guys and continue to spin the PR in such a way that their CBDC, it looks beneficial to you. So it's amazing that we are at this part of the movie. So it in my opinion, it is just more evidence that we are continuously down the then they fight you rabbit hole, and we shall see just how, you know, direct the attacks will become. And it's becoming more clear to me that they're angling in that way, where they're going to come directly at Bitcoiners pretty soon. And this is why we continue to tell you guys to take Bitcoin to self-custody, you know, use a node and opt out of this craziness, because not only are they angling for CBDCs, but it looks like the fiat legacy system is blowing up as we speak. Mm-hmm. So you do not want to be holding any fiat currency or treasury bonds or anything that isn't an asset that is going to go up in value. And this is why we hold Bitcoin, because everything divided by 21 million. This is a feature, not a bug.
Absolutely. Now I'm really curious, and I'm excited. Dan, from the humble pleb, the Anon, what are your thoughts on this, man? What are your thoughts on this disgrace? I think you're muted. Dan, you're muted.
You're muted, bro.
All right, man. Well, it looks like Dan's muted. We gotta.
I was muted.
Oh, there we go. There we go. He's back. He's back.
Yes,
all right,
man.
Dan. So, what are your thoughts on this, man? From the humble pleb, from your situation, man.
She stated it perfectly. She wanted the anchor to tie around the legs of the poor nations and drag them into the ocean with her free debt that they create from nothing, and send them. And you see Bekele's out there on Twitter putting shit on the English bank for their currency, their recent fucking crash in their British pound. And it's like, fuck you. I've got Bitcoin. They don't need the anchor of debt around the ankles.
Dude.
That's,
And he got it, and he got it right. He got it right. Dude, Bukele predicted that. Like, look, his pound crash, Bitcoin loving El Salvador president mocks Bank of England. Told you, Bank of England. I'm really concerned about Bank of England printing money out of thin air. And this was from a long time ago, and that's exactly what they did. It's like, we know the gig. It's all exposed, and they have the audacity to go and tell us that central banking has to continue to stay and be the anchor of the global financial system. No, bro, it's over. The racket is over, and we're going to continue to expose you guys, the suits and the seals and the government approval. That doesn't work anymore. We are we are living through the Great Awakening. Anyways,
so they want to CDBC and put an anchor around every single person's leg and anchor everyone and drown everyone
at the same time. Bring them down with the sinking ship.
The Daily News.
Brought to you by CryptoCloaks.com. They make the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch in the game. From custom node cases to key rings to the famous 3D printed Bitcoin grenade toy. Comes in any custom color your heart desires. You want it in gold, they make it in gold, but only on CryptoCloaks.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Jack Ballers strikes again. This is absolutely huge. Before I get into the article, guys, just zoom out for a little bit. He raised this after Bitcoin he raised this money from VCs, right? After Bitcoin has fallen 70% in value. In the middle of the current macroeconomic situation of the world. People are still so bullish on Bitcoin that they're willing to give this young entrepreneur, 28 years old, $90 million.
It was 80 million, Nico. Fortune messed up on this one.
Thank you for the correction. And we have to change the title too. So
I think
80, 90 is still a good amount of money. So raised $80 million, takes aim at Visa. Anyways, let's check out some of the articles. Strike, a digital wallet that relies on a fast version of Bitcoin's network, believes it could do something no one has done in half a century. Challenge the credit card giants Visa and Mastercard when it comes to everyday payments. The Chicago-based company on Tuesday announced a $9 million raise to further those ambitions and break what its brash CEO Jack Mallers calls the monopolistic anti-American dominance of the credit card firms. The funding round was led by 1031. Yes, that's right. That's where Simply Bitcoin's filming today at Bitcoin Park, the 1031 offices. So shout out to those guys. And joined by new investors, Washington University in St. Louis Endowment, University of Wyoming Endowment, and that is a Susquehanna Investment Group. I'm sorry, guys. It's just try to pronounce that. Anyways, in an interview with Fortune, Mahler said Strike will use the money in part to develop partnerships with major retailers such as Wendy's and Starbucks and to change the payment experience for merchants and customers alike. While the idea of challenging credit card giants with Bitcoin may sound pie in the sky, Strike already has shown real-world traction by persuading e-commerce giant Shopify, as well as the global point-of-sale service NCR, to employ its technology. Strike relies on technology called the Lightning, which is known as a Layer 2 solution in crypto parlance. Lightning works by creating batches of Bitcoin transactions and rapidly verifying them, a much cheaper and faster alternative to the base Bitcoin network, where transactions could take up to an hour to clear and incur significant. Twitter's tipping and payment services already use Strike, the Lightning Network. Who use Strike can opt to have any Bitcoin payments they receive converted immediately to US dollars, Mollers predicts as many as 50% of US businesses could come to adopt the technology by the end of 2023, while a report by investment bank Morgan Stanley suggested it could spur the use of Bitcoin as a mainstream payment method. Mollers also believes Strike will come to challenge Western Union as a remittance service. He points out that when you use a card to buy something online or in a store, the merchant isn't receiving money, but instead a pledge from Visa or Mastercard to pay for the transaction on your behalf. By contrast, Mollers notes that transactions over the Lightning Network amount to transferring money in real time with no need for a protracted settlement process. Strike's use of Bitcoin blockchain, Mollers adds, means that fraud is effectively impossible, which in turn means its operating costs are much lower and can charge, and here's the incentive. This is what scares the living crap out of them. It can charge well below the 1.5% to 4% that merchants are typically billed. Meanwhile, Bitcoin is an open protocol, so anyone can use it. No regrets, the article goes on to say. It remains to be seen, of course, whether Mollers could translate his outsized ambitions into reality in the face of some obvious challenges. This includes Bitcoin's ongoing volatility. It's like yes, they gave $80 million, but ongoing volatility. Obviously, VCs, smart money, don't give a flying F about the volatility because they understand in a world of infinite fiat, it's 21 million divided by infinity. But of course, they always have to take the jabs. As some have noted, the cryptocurrency has been less volatile than the British pound in recent weeks. There's also a problem, and now this is the part that I want to talk to you guys about. There's also a problem, the fact that spending Bitcoin triggers tax obligations, a problem that might be reduced by proposed legislation in Congress, but for now remains very real. So that last part I wanted to comment on, right? So absolutely bullish news from Mollers. This is fucking incredible, right? Raising $80 million Series B in the middle of a bear market. Absolutely incredible. But that last part, right? We might have trouble spending our Bitcoin because it implies a tax obligation. Fine, you got to pay your taxes, dude. You don't want to go to jail. You don't want to be put in a box. But I have a question for you, and this is going to be a question that governments are going to have to answer more and more and more and more. Why are you forcing us through legal tender laws to use a money that is designed to steal from us? Why are we forced to use that money when we can use a money that not only is it not designed to steal from us, it actually increases our purchasing power over time? Why are we paying taxes for that? And that's the question that they're going to have to answer. And it's going to be a very difficult question. And you want to know how difficult of a question this is? In all the reports last week, the future of money, the digital assets framework, the climate implications of Bitcoin. All those reports talked about Bitcoin's energy usage, how that's a bad thing. They talked about how central bank digital currencies are the future of money in the United States. But none of those reports mentioned inflation. The future of money report by the Treasury never mentioned inflation, not one time. And they never mentioned as to why people are seeking alternatives. Fine, in the US, it's relatively stable. But why do you think people are using Bitcoin in Nigeria? Why do you think people are using Bitcoin in Venezuela? Why do you think people are using Bitcoin in Argentina? And if you want to know how scared shitless they are of the genie getting out of the bottle, part of the IMF loan that was given to the Argentinian government came with contingencies that the Argentinian government had to de-incentivize the adoption of Bitcoin. Governments are going to have to, of course it's not working. Incentives are stronger than coercion. Governments are going to have to answer a very important question. Stop straw manning. It's not the climate. Stop telling me terrorism, money laundering. Stop telling me. The real question is, why are you forcing us to use a money that steals from us? Please tell us. We already pay taxes. Why do we have to pay this too? You guys get to pay yourself first with the money printer. Why do the rest of us have to go along with you? And Bitcoin's going to continue to expose that. But holy crap, man. Does that news about Jack Ballers raising $80 billion during the bear market make me so freaking bullish, man. Wow. And remember the Ross Stevens thing a couple weeks ago at BitBlock Boom when he did his announcement. He was launching the In Wolf's Clothing lab to help launch Lightning companies. All of this is happening during the bear market. Not to mention BlackRock offering Bitcoin through institutional through Coinbase in the bear market. Fidelity, Charles Schwab launching a crypto exchange in the bear market. You really think this thing's going away? You really think we're gonna be hanging around at 19K for a long time? You should pause the show right now and stack some sats. That's what you should be doing. Incredibly bullish. Shout out to the legend, Jack Ballers. Anyways, Opti, what are your thoughts, bro?
Well, first, I love the article's, bias being showed and the FUD in the article about Strike raising $80 million. It's like they can't but help themselves to try to dunk on Bitcoiners when they're building. And it's so obvious now, what media companies are bought and sold and where their biases are coming from. And second, man, shouts out to Jack Ballers, man. This dude is a G. I just love seeing the moves he makes. He just continues to kill it and continues to up the ante. And every time he speaks on stage, it's just like, man, it's always an inspiring, and you're always learning something about being a Bitcoiner and an entrepreneur and even like, how money and all this stuff works. But secondly, I saw this Matt Odell tweet this morning, and I think it's fitting. And he goes, he's quoting a tweet about himself from April 7th, and he goes, "No KYC Bitcoin off-ramps in every store in America." And then he goes, "The team at Strike," and this was this morning, "The team at Strike are going to make this a reality, and our team at 1031 are proud to support their mission." So absolutely bullish for us out there to be able to use our Bitcoin, safely and privately and anonymously, so that we don't have to be KYC'd everywhere we go and use our money how it's supposed to be. And furthermore, to answer your question, Nico, about being forced to use, a money that robs from you, we say it all the time. It's about control, guys. The fact that you can't save your money, your value, you can't build up currency, you can't build up capital, is because they want you to own nothing and be happy about it. Because we all know that money may not buy you freedom, but money definitely gets you more freedom in this world. And you want to be able to save capital, or else you can't do anything in this world. Hey, money may not make you happier, but it sure does let you do the things you want to do. And that's some freedom. That's why these people want to continue to rob you, so that they can, take it from your pocket and put it in their own pocket, so that they can fly their private jets and they can live in their nice mansion. But, furthermore, man, shouts out to what they're doing over there at Strike. I'm excited to see this get fully rolled out, so that I can start using it and, use Bitcoin how it's supposed to be used. And we can continue on this sound money revolution and continue to route around the legacy system, because it's not as good as Bitcoin. Like, on any merit, Bitcoin just continues to outcompete on the free market. Feature, not a bug.
Feature, not a bug. Dan, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
Yeah, that's awesome. So bullish. Here in Australia, bugger all options at the moment for spending BTC. And again, we've got capital gains. They want to tax us on money that can't be debased, because, how can they let us not have that ball and chain? They want that anchor around our legs, and we just want a money we can save in. I mean, how can you save when you're a lonely pleb and you can't afford to buy $1 billion house and rent it out to the other plebs? You just want something you can save in, something you can spend nice and private, run your own node. And Jack did that presentation a while ago, where he spent from his phone via his node straight through Strike, straight to the cash register at the store he was at. That's what we need. That's what we want. And that's why we're all here. bring on the revolution.
Guys, did you hear how powerful that message is? Did you hear that power? And this is why we love bringing plebs on the show. All I want is to be able to earn in something and save in something. That's all we're asking for. And you heard it. It wasn't from us. You heard what Powell said. You heard what Christine said. They don't want that for you. They don't feel you're entitled to that. You deplorable. You peasant. You're not allowed to save. Nah, you have to. You have to go along with what we want. What is
you could hear
that?
how scared she was. She was scared. Like there was fear in her voice. The thought of not having control, not having that anchor she can tie around everyone's legs, not having that power to print money whenever she wants.
It's despicable. It's despicable. It's disgusting. This is what we fight for, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
We fight for freedom. We fight for the everyday person. That not the elites, not someone who's making $100,000, not upper class. We're fighting for the little guy. The guy in the middle, the guy that just wants to make ends meet. He's not a sophisticated investor. Why should he not be allowed to save in something that doesn't steal from him? And that is what they're against. That is what those people don't want for you. Disgusting, man. Demons, bro. Monetary demons, time theft. They're stealing from everybody. They're benefiting themselves, and they're using that money to pay for wars and to pay for things that you don't agree with and you never signed up for. What if you're a good citizen? You work hard, you pay your taxes. Nah, that's not enough for them. That's what Bitcoin's about. Party's over, game's over. We're winning this. Bitcoin or slavery. Anyways, Opti, let's get to the culture, my dude.
The Daily Culture.
Brought to you by SwanBitcoin.com. Swan is the best way to build your Bitcoin stack with automated Bitcoin savings plans and instant purchases, serving clients of any size from $10 to $10 million. We love Swan because they incentivize self-custody and dollar cost averaging. What are you waiting for? Visit SwanBitcoin.com today. I also want to give a shout out to Pacific Bitcoin. So riled up from the last part. Went a little crazy. Holy crap, do they piss me off, these time thieves. Guys, you don't want to miss this. Check out Pacific Bitcoin. It's going to be the largest Bitcoin conference on the West Coast, November 10th through the 11th in sunny Los Angeles, California. Speaker list includes, of course, the Chad Saylor, Alex Epstein, Lynn Alden, Corey Clipston, CJ Wilson, Jeff Booth, Pierre Richard, Eric Coston, Alex Gladstein, Mark Sky Swan, Parker Lewis, Jeff Ross, Nico, and Opti are going to be doing a live Simply Bitcoin from Pacific Bitcoin. Guys, you can get a major discount on your tickets by using the promo code SIMPLY. Do it right now. Use the promo code SIMPLY. Go to Pacific Bitcoin, get yourself some tickets today before they get too expensive. It's going to be awesome. You're not going to want to miss it. Opti, what do you have for us today on the culture?
All right. Well, I'm really glad that you played that Christine Lagarde clip for everyone because I wanted to put a part of this, but videos get a little hectic when you're putting a narrative together. But we also got Jerome Powell, the Fed's Powell, saying that the central bank will always be the main source of trust in money. And the fact that they have to say this out loud is just more proof to me that they are losing control and they are losing trust in the system. And as Zender put here on Twitter, money is a confidence game and they're losing it. And I don't know if you guys are watching what's going on in the bond markets, in stock markets, but they are blowing up, and it's just further proof that people out there are losing trust in the system. And furthermore, I saw this article on Bloomberg, and this is, again, Sven Henrik, and he goes, even a former Fed president is not the Fed's positive growth forecast nonsense. How can they claim credibility when they are putting out forecasts they must know not to be realistic? So let's jump into this a little bit, and then I'm going to add on the Bitcoin aspect of this. And it goes, the Fed, this is an opinion piece on Bloomberg titled, "The Fed is underplaying the pain of inflation fighting." So let's get into some of this article, and it goes, the U.S. Federal Reserve has made its inflation fighting intentions abundantly comes the difficult part. Sticking to that commitment as tighter monetary policy restrains the economy and puts millions out of work. Will the Fed stay the course? I sure hope so, but it will be a long, hard road, which raises doubts. Over the past month, Fed officials have consistently demonstrated their resolve to push inflation back down to the central bank's 2% target. We got Jerome Powell called the commitment unconditional. The Federal Open Market Committee unanimously votes for 75 basis points. And all that then, it's easy to be unified when you're catching up after being far behind the curve, when the labor market is still strong, and when the public views inflation fighting as a priority. That will all change as the Fed's inflation fighting efforts start to take increasing unemployment and likely tipping the economy into recession. Yet judging from their own projections, Fed officials still haven't been fully forthcoming about these consequences. Remember, this is a former Fed official himself, and he goes, so far people seem to believe Powell's pledge that the Fed will keep at it until the job is done. But what will happen when people realize that the job will be harder and the pain greater than the Fed has indicated? Support for its policies will probably decline, and it will lose credibility, something crucial to retain to get inflation under control. And I added this really great thread in here, and you might wonder what you should be doing, and I have some thoughts. Stop giving legitimacy to these awful governments. Don't believe their lies when they tell you which third party is to blame for all this debt. The hard truth is the blame lies with government itself and other voters. And again, I am the resident meme lord, so I have to add Gigi's meme right here, and we're quoting Ben Rickert, and he goes, "You're living through the bursting of the biggest sovereign debt bubble in history," and it's Pepe with a selfie stick as the world burns. So what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Well, I saw this great post by Bitcoin Magazine, again, quoting another legacy media, article out there. So the signal can't be stopped. And Bitcoin Mag goes, the New York Times recognizing that Bitcoin is holding strong as fiat currencies fail. Bullish. And this New York Times article goes, currencies around the world are tumbling, except for Bitcoin. Now, let's get to the white paper, because this is the crux of the situation. Remember what Zender said in the beginning, money is a confidence game, and they're losing that. Well, I hope you guys have read the white paper, and if you haven't, I'm going to touch on the first paragraph or so of it so that we can understand why we are Bitcoiners and why we are here. So Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash. Abstract, a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. And we propose a peer-to-peer network. Remember what we were telling you about trust, and about even how Christine Lagarde herself is saying that, oh, we are the monetary anchor. We are the ones that you guys should trust. The central bankers will always be the main authority when it comes to cash. Well, Bitcoin is here, and we don't need your trust. This is a feature, not a bug. So commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. Again, guys, money is a trust game. And if you don't trust the currency that you're saving in, look what we've been talking about for the last 30 minutes. Like, none of us trust this system anymore, and the signal is getting out there, and they can't stop this signal from spreading, because we are starting to see the cracks in the system. And as you can see here, we have a system that no longer needs trust. And I brought this up yesterday, again, this friend Henrik, and he goes, we've reached a unique time in history when Bitcoin suddenly is less volatile than fiat currencies. And what is this telling me? It's telling me that more people are reaching to Bitcoin because they trust the algorithmically programmed monetary policy of Bitcoin. We have eliminated humans from the monetary supply. We no longer have to look at the Fed. We no longer have to go to the central bankers and trust them to not manipulate the money supply. We don't have to give them trust to ensure that they can be great leaders and steward the economy. And I really like this Odell tweet, because I think it It sums up exactly what we're seeing in real time. Remember, we are going through the great debt sovereign bubble right now. So Odell goes, US dollar sucks air out of the room. Global currency collapse. Some countries move to US dollar while others move to commodity-backed currencies and metals. The US dollar collapses. New monies require too much trust. Again, it's all about trust, and trusting the money that you're using will save value into the future and be taken by people across space and time. But Bitcoin becomes global reserve currency and base of an open financial network. And someone goes, explain why the USD collapses. And it's because of runaway inflation and the loss of trust. This is what is going on here, guys. We have gotten to this point now where people are realizing that you cannot trust the fiat system, whether it's a dollar, whether it's any other fiat currency. It is just a paper IOU. It is based on the debt Ponzi, and Bitcoin is the
Did Tomer just came on the live stream? What's up, Tomer?
And Bitcoin is the utilization of large amounts of energy and cold, reliable mechanical certainty to replace human labor, judgment, error, and trust. Guys, I've said it all the time. Bitcoin has eliminated humans from the monetary supply. No longer do we have to trust people to not meddle with the money. No longer do we have to trust people to have insights into the economy so that they can steward the money supply into the future and make sure that we have less inflation than we do now. And we showed this yesterday, guys. One BTC to last many generations to come. And here's the monetary supply of Bitcoin. We no longer have to trust humans to ensure the monetary supply. It is algorithmically programmed. This is a feature, not a bug. We have eliminated trust in the money supply, which means now we can save on a strong foundation going into the future, which is the Bitcoin network. We know the monetary policy of Bitcoin from here to 2140, and this is building on a strong foundation. This is why we code, or not code, this is why we use nodes. This is why we run nodes. This is why we continue to tell you guys to take your Bitcoin into self-custody, because once you put your Bitcoin in a key, private keys that you control, no one can debase your currency. And this is what we continue to tell you guys. These parasites, these monetary demons, as Nico just quoted, are literally stealing your life force by causing more inflation and by debasing the currency out there. They're stealing from future generations and they're lining their own pockets. But now we don't have to trust these people. And as Jay Powell says himself, hey, they can have all the PR gaslighting they want, but the central bankers are no longer the monetary anchors of the trust-based fiat system. Bitcoin fixes this, and this is why we show up every single day to tell you guys about the sound money gospel. I know we're getting in the weeds sometimes, but you guys got to understand that you guys trust the dollar to hold its value. You guys trust the dollar to be taken in everywhere, every corner of the earth. But we have gotten to this point where the trust is eroding in not only the dollar, but the fiat legacy system at large. And people are looking for options outside of the fiat legacy system, and there is no alternative. It is Bitcoin. This is why we tell you guys to save in Bitcoin. This is why the strike news is so bullish, because now we can spend our Bitcoin like money everywhere. That will take that takes money at this point. We're getting to the point where we can use Bitcoin as money, and it's just absolutely bullish because we never needed Bitcoin more than ever. Like, Bitcoin was created out of the last financial crisis, and now we have an escape valve. And, the central bankers can say all they want, but they cannot stop us from using Bitcoin. Use a node, get Bitcoin peer-to-peer, put Bitcoin in keys, in non-custodial Bitcoin wallets that you own the private keys to, because this is the revolution. Self-custody is the revolution, and we have no longer have to trust a small cabal of people to maintain the monetary network. Anyways, Nico, give us some thoughts here, bro.
Yeah, man, it's bro. I love the whole theme of this episode. It just like, dude, like, we have a better system. There is a better system, and no matter, like, I get it. Like, I understand their perspective. Like, their whole outlook on life goes, and they really believe. Christine Lagarde, Jerome Powell, like, they really believe. It's like, yeah, we could do this better. Like, we could run monetary policy, but I'm not even looking at that, right? Like, if you pull this up, dude, like, there's Bitcoin's monetary policy. Like, we know it. Like, we know it. Look, it goes on to 2,140, man. Like, we know it's there. Like, we know what it is. Let's take the human beings out of the monetary policy. Let's give Bitcoin a shot, right? Because look at what they've done. Look at what they've done, man. Look at what they've done over the last 100 years. You can't, at this point, you can't say that central banking was a success. You can't say that. It's been an utter catastrophe. It's caused the wealth inequality. It's caused the degradation in the food. You can even make the argument that it's caused the moral decay in society itself.
For sure. And
Broken money.
It was a success for those that shackled countries with a lot of debt and they got to steal all their resources.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. The system only benefited a few elite people and everybody else. And it really benefited the ultra wealthy, and it really benefited the governments. And governments were basically being able to spend money they didn't have to live for the now, kick the can down the road, and the future generations are the ones that had to pay the consequences of this. Right? But the good news, the silver lining to this is now we have a way of opting out, and there's absolutely nothing they could do about it. And look at them squirm in their chairs, right? Because their usual mechanism of coercion or death by regulation or lawfare doesn't work here, because it's a decentralized grassroots movement. At the end of the day, Bitcoin is an idea. And the idea is extremely powerful. I want to be able to earn and save into money, even if I'm not a sophisticated investor. What Dan said earlier was absolutely beautiful. Dude, I just want to work and I just want to be able to save. And that's that. That's all we're asking for.
Yeah.
And they don't want that. And they can't even answer it. They can't. If you tell them that, they won't be able to respond, because it exposes the racket that they're trying to implement on everybody else, man. So
and
yeah,
the
dude.
deflation of money caused, like, for the last 2 decades here, you couldn't save, or it was very hard to save fast enough to outpace the amount you needed for a deposit on a house. Like,
Exactly.
you're saving away, you've nearly got that deposit for a house, and house prices jump 10%. You're like, fuck.
Exactly.
You go back to saving, and you just, over and over again, you get screwed.
It's disgusting. We have the solution. The solution is Bitcoin. Take self-custody. Run your own node. Fiat. I love that. What is that? Fiat trust,
don't verify. Bitcoin, don't trust.
Oof. All right, let's end the culture on that. Let's get to the memes. Wow, bro. Very, very, very fitting. Very fitting, Opti.
The Daily Meme Review.
Brought to you by Bitbox 2 Bitcoin Only Edition, a hardware wallet by Shift Crypto. Crypto-like cryptography. It's secure, it's open source, and it's so easy your mom can set it up. Self-custody is the revolution, and the Bitbox makes it simple. Do not leave your Bitcoin on an exchange. Order a Bitbox today. All right, guys, you already know your favorite part of the show, the meme review. And like Nico coined, tweets are the bullets and memes are the artillery in the information war. You guys are the frontline soldiers. Continue to meme, continue to get calls of action out there, continue to spread the sound money gospel, continue to tell people self-custody is a revolution. Use a node. Tell people what your favorite wallets are, because we have the tools and we have the solutions. And we no longer have to run around like chickens with our heads cut off and the status quo and getting robbed by these monetary demons. I'm about to use that all the time now, Nico. All right.
Dude, that's what they are. That's what they are.
It's such a good meme.
They're freaking monetary demons, man.
It's such a good meme. All right. Anyways, guys, if you guys remember yesterday, I covered the Bloomberg article about 1 BTC equals 1 BTC, and Satoshi Nakamoto was in it. And this was his response to that article. And he goes, 1 BTC equals 1 BTC. Headlines, Bitcoin crashes 50%. Me knowing I still own the same amount of Bitcoin. Yeah, Yes, this is the way. This is the way. Now, this one, guys, this one's kind of a double meme. I use this one to hit you with two memes at the same time. And first one is by Onlil, and he goes, those who sought refuge in the pound. Remember, I did a meme similar to this yesterday. Those who fought refuge in the pound are now seeking refuge in the dollar without understanding they're repeating the same mistake. And what normally see, you know, Bitcoin or the dollar being the big bad wolf in the shitcoin game, and the dollar's eating all their lunch, but only to find out that Bitcoin is about to eat their lunch. And continuing on the same thing, I had to add Preston Pish's meme because this is a classic meme format, and it's a pound with the euro has a gun behind his head, and then a dollar has a gun behind the euro, and then Bitcoin just sniping all of them because Bitcoin will eat their lunch. Milkshake monetary theory playing out in real time. Anyways, this next one is by McHoddle Face, and he goes hashtag just Bitcoin things. And remember, Nico was confused on what was going on yesterday with the cast iron pan meme. And we go sovereign credit crisis starting. Bitcoiners, this is fine meme with cast iron clearly makes a superior pan. This is the beauty of being a Bitcoiner on Bitcoin Twitter, because you don't have to worry about all this stuff if you don't want to. Opt out with Bitcoin. This next one is by my friend Anastasia, or yeah. Anyways, I don't even know how to say your name. And it goes, Bitcoiners during the dip, a hodler, and then over levered degens. Poor little girl. This next one, I've been meaning to put this one on our show for a minute because shouts out to my boy Andres at Sons of Sats, and he goes, Bitcoin saves lives, Ethereum, well, it saves the fat cats. We are different. Vietnam 2022, two different realities. And this is a meme that came out of Pubby's Spaces, Vietnam, and the plebs getting on the ladder to Bitcoin and escaping Vietnam. And then on the other side, Ethereum merge 2022, shitcoiners jumping on the ladder, and proof of stake just getting them wrecked. Amazing. And this next one, just a special place in my heart, considering that I feel like I have I feel like I'm one of the persons that have been pushing this meme for a long time, finding Bitcoin Zen. And now we got Gigi. I know he's a fan of Bitcoin Zen. And so this one's just a simple one. Find Bitcoin Zen, and being a Bitcoiner in all of this chaos, and even like Ben Sean Harris, guys, this is what we tell you guys. This is why we continue to double down on the show, because in the face of all this crazy stuff going on, in the face of central powers, central bankers, politicians, and the like telling you that you need to opt into a dystopian money called a CBDC system, you can opt out with Bitcoin. And we are just continuing to double down on the idea that sound money gospel is the way, and you don't have to partake in the system anymore. Bitcoiners are building in this bear market, and I am just so excited for when we get out of Goblin Town right now, because I know the price is looking pretty bad and everyone's concerned, and oh my God, Bitcoin's dead again. But Bitcoin's more alive than ever. Blocks continue to come in. Blocks are at all-time high, and Bitcoiners are out there building. Anyways, I'm going to give it, I have given you guys my Celsius before, but this is, like 9/10 drink Celsius this morning. So empty can of seltzer is my score for today.
Okay, Dan, what would you give those memes?
A very needed USB 3 cable.
Okay.
That you would use it to power your cold card.
Very, very nice. I'm going to give it, Opti, you're going to appreciate this because you're an audio guy. It's a splitter cable.
Ooh.
But it's not the regular one. It's the full 6 point. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's for two.
Caveat. Apparently, my boy Rope got his meme jacked again. So shout out to you, Rope.
That just means that you got good memes, man. That just
he's
means
got
that
the
you
fire
got good
memes. Fire memes.
That means that you got good memes. All right, brothers.
We got some meme scores.
Brothers and sisters, what do you have for us today? Rave Elevator says, I give those memes a Szechuan sauce package spicy. All right, I'll give those memes. We as one NL. I give those memes a lightning bolt microphone. There's an ambulance. I give those memes some transitory 10% inflation. BTC pins, I give those memes the current pan. Very, very nice. Z Logic, I give those memes a fiat tank stuck in Bitcoin jungle. Michael Morrison says, I give those memes a cast iron slide connected to the lightning. Wow, Safedin's really getting it hard, huh? Global Nonsense, I give it my very seasoned cast iron skillet, bro. They keep going ham on this. Brandon says, I give those memes some grass-fed cows. And
here we go. Last one.
I rate Mr. Robot, rate memes one Safedin being about a cast iron pan knowledge.
Let's do this one. Give
those
memes a GG follow. Let's go, Rob. Let's go.
Okay. Very nice. Guys, also make sure to join Simply Bitcoin's Telegram group. It's absolutely free. This is where you can link us Bitcoin memes to review, and we will feature them on the meme review. If you don't join this Telegram group, then how do we know that you're showing us memes to review? So you go to www.t.me/the Simply Bitcoin channel. It's absolutely free. And also check out the written version of this show, Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. You got to go to www.simplybitcoin.news. But anyways, Opti, there was an open source software release today. Let's check it out.
Bitcoin software release.
Brought to you by CipherSafe. Don't be that person that loses their Bitcoin seed due to fire damage, water damage, dog attacks. Back up your generational Bitcoin wealth on steel. And there's no better place to do it than the Cypher Grid by CipherSafe. And now check out their new Bitcoin art, the Bitcoin Rulux triangle, only on cyphersafe.io.
Let's go, guys. This one, I updated my BTC Pay server like yesterday, and I didn't know it was this update, but it's a beautiful update. Anyway, today's software update is BTC Pay server version 1.6.11 or 11, and it updates the point of sale app through API, adds mempool.space as the default block explorer, and it has a really pretty UI addition to it, guys. So if you are using BTC Pay Server, which I highly recommend, one of my favorite projects in Bitcoin, you need to update that. It's a solid update. Anyways, guys, if you like the podcast, check us out on Apple, on Spotify, and on Anchor. And if you really love what we're doing, stream us some sats on Fountain. If you think we're providing you value, we are a part of the value for value economy, and we appreciate all the sats, guys. We appreciate all the love. Oh man, it's a good Tuesday, Nico. I think we slayed this episode, so this is a solid one, bro.
It was definitely a solid one. Dan, tell people where they could. No. We have to tell people about the comfiest and the most stylish hoodies ever made. We have to tell you guys about representltd.com.
I think
it's comfy, it's stylish.
I'm
wearing the black.
Smelly right now, so
they didn't need to know that. It's comfy, it's stylish.
That's how much I wear it, guys.
I'm wearing the black camo hoodie. Opti's wearing the orange pill. Show the back, Opti. I love that. I love that one. That's one of my favorite ones. Look at that. Decentralized. Trust no one. That's right. You hear that, Christine Lagarde? Trust no one. Guys, you can only find this merch on representltd.com. You can take advantage of the promo code down below in the video description, in the audio description to get a 10% discount off of representltd.com. I also want to give a very special shout out to our awesome guest, Dan. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Guys, we're going to continue doing this.
Thanks, guys.
Just on days that we don't have any guests scheduled, and it looks like you guys like those episodes too, we're just going to blast it out on Twitter. Hey, you want to join Simply Bitcoin the next day and just jump in and we'll bring you on the show. Remember, Bitcoin is the most inclusive monetary network the world has ever seen, much more than anything governments will provide. We fundamentally believe that on the show, which is why it's really important to bring, of course, the heavy hitters, the A-listers, the big guys, the intellectual heavyweights, right, that are going to come there. They're going to give you the signal. But it's also important to give the opinions and the perspectives of people that are down in the trenches, the people that are really not that well known, because they're going to give you some of the most based, authentic takes. There's something that Dan said today that really, really struck a chord in my heart. All I want to do is be able to earn and save money, and they don't let me do that. And man, that was such a powerful message. So Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Where could people find you on social media?
So I'm just on Twitter as Pleb Puddle Badger. Yeah, that's really my only social media I put out there.
Awesome.
Everything else pretty anonymous.
Awesome, man. Well, I'm going to put you backstage. I'm going to wrap up the show. Guys, that was Simply Bitcoin. Thank you so much for joining us. We love you all. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button. If you really believe this show provided you some value, hit that subscribe. The number one thing that you could do is share the video, get the signal out. And of course, guys, like always, we will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow streaming live from the Bitcoin Magazine offices in Nashville, Tennessee. It's going to be a great episode. See you guys later.
Which one's the best crypto asset? Well, Bitcoin's the best crypto asset. Okay. What's the second best? There is no second best.